Something massive happened with Palantir today. Wall Street is dropping massive calls. Around $1 trillion might be on its way. And here's the thing. Analysts are going crazy. The $1 trillion dream might come sooner than we expected. And this will change everything for Palantir. What is happening? And what on earth am I even talking about? Well, let me explain. Disclaimer. Palantir's stock price did experience a bit of a pullback earlier today. It dipped a little, which had some folks nervous, but not for long, because later in the day, it started climbing back up. Why? Well, that's because today has been massive for Palantir. News just kept pouring in, and we're not talking about small updates. We're talking about market-moving stuff. But the biggest headline of the day? Wall Street just dropped a total bombshell. Analysts are now strongly saying that Palantir is on its way to becoming a trillion-dollar company. Yep, you heard that right. Not only that, but the timing of this milestone has apparently leaked. And no, it's not just some rumor floating around Twitter. This is backed up by real analysts with data, models, and conviction behind their words. So if you're not already holding Palantir, now might be the perfect time to start. And here's the best part. We've got a way for you to get some Palantir stock for free. All you've got to do is click the link in the description and follow the simple steps. That's it. It's free stock. Don't miss it. Now back to the price action. Because I know some of you are wondering, okay, but what do these headlines mean for Palantir's chart? Well, one analyst broke it down perfectly. He pointed out that the weekly chart actually broke out of this range. It had been stuck in a kind of distribution zone, but when it tried to push higher, it hit some heavy resistance. Specifically, it bumped into what's called a supply zone. This is basically a key level where a lot of big money, like institutions and hedge funds, have their positions. It's also where a ton of stop losses are stacked, and that makes it a tough wall to break through. Now here's the interesting part. It got rejected at that level not once, but twice in a row. That tells us two things. One, there's some serious selling pressure up there. But two, and more importantly, it also tells us that this is a key battleground. And once Palantir breaks through it, it's game on. That zone is like a dam. Once it cracks, price can explode higher. With all the bullish sentiment and now Wall Street fully backing this long-term vision, it's only a matter of time. The pressure is building, and when Palantir finally breaks that ceiling, we could see a whole new leg up. And guess what? It doesn't stop there. Palantir isn't just riding the wave of bullish analyst predictions. They're out here making major moves of their own. Today, they dropped a series of fresh partnerships, and one of the biggest ones is with a company called R1. And if you care about healthcare, or even just making smart investments, this one's a big deal. So here's what's happening. Palantir is teaming up with R1 to completely transform how hospitals and healthcare providers handle their finances. Now, that might sound a bit dry at first, but hang on, because this is where it gets powerful. See, the way healthcare systems get paid, through insurance companies and all that, is crazy complicated. And the process is super outdated. We're talking mountains of paperwork, endless billing codes, and just way too much time and money wasted. In fact, nearly half of hospital expenses in the US come from just administration. That's billions, with a B, every single year, just to manage payments and paperwork. Now imagine if all of that could be automated. That's what Palantir and R1 are doing together. They're building smart AI systems that can handle all that chaos. Things like coding, billing, and dealing with payment denials. Way faster, way more accurately, and without all the human error. Palantir's tech is going straight into the core of R1's operations. And we're not just talking about some behind-the-scenes software here. They're embedding their engineers directly into the process. This means they're not waiting around. They're moving fast, fixing things in real time, and actually changing how the whole system works. Alex Karp, Palantir's CEO, even said it himself. This part of healthcare desperately needs innovation. And with Palantir's AI doing the heavy lifting, healthcare workers can finally spend more time focusing on what really matters. Taking care of patients, not fighting paperwork. This isn't just another partnership. It's Palantir planting a flag in one of the most expensive and inefficient parts of the healthcare industry. And if they pull this off, that trillion-dollar prediction doesn't just seem possible. It starts to feel inevitable. And here's another big reason why Palantir is on fire right now. Wall Street. One of the most well-known analysts out there, Dan Ives from Wedbush, just came out swinging. He's not only keeping his buy rating on Palantir, but he's actually raising his price target even higher. And get this, He now sees Palantir heading toward a share price that's way beyond what most people expected just weeks ago. But he didn't stop there. Ives went further and said something that really got people's attention. He's predicting that Palantir's total market value could skyrocket all the way to $1 trillion, and not in a decade. He thinks it could happen in just 3 years. That would mean the stock price could be heading toward levels that most folks would have laughed at a year ago. But now, it's starting to sound more like a real possibility. And here's the wild part. Another analyst might have just leaked when this trillion-dollar moment could hit. According to him, it's not just about long-term hype. It's about what's happening right now in 2025. Palantir has been crushing the market this year. The stock has already climbed more than 40% since January. And that's even more impressive when you consider how rough this year has been for tech. Between trade war headlines and talk of a possible recession, most tech names have been sliding. The Nasdaq is still down big, but Palantir? It's going the other way. Now, sure, there was a bit of a dip after Palantir reported earnings. The stock took a hit, dropping more than 10% even though they beat sales expectations, matched earnings, and even raised guidance for the full year. But that drop? That was pure emotion. For smart investors, it just looked like a gift. Because here's the thing, Palantir isn't just doing well, they're accelerating. Their AI platform is taking off. This isn't the Palantir of old that only worked with defense and government agencies. They're going full force into the commercial space now, and businesses are lining up for their artificial intelligence platform, AIP, to help them boost productivity and cut costs. And it's working. Customers aren't just signing up, they're doubling down. In just the first quarter alone, Palantir booked almost $2 billion in new contracts. That pushed their total pipeline of signed deals to nearly $6 billion, a massive jump from last year. So they're not just growing, they're growing faster than they can even deliver right now. That's why analysts are so bullish. Palantir is dominating a space that's exploding, AI software platforms, and they're doing it with strong fundamentals. Their earnings are jumping fast, and they're pulling in more revenue from their existing customers, which means they're not just selling, they're building long-term, high-value relationships. When you zoom out, it's easy to see how this becomes a trillion-dollar company. The AI software market is expected to balloon over the next few years, and Palantir is growing even faster than the industry average. Even if their valuation cools off a bit down the line, their revenue growth could still push the company to that next-level territory. And that brings us back to today. Despite a quick dip earlier this week, Palantir is holding strong. Investors are seeing the bigger picture. The story isn't about a one-day move, it's about the long game. With AI momentum, huge new contracts, bullish Wall Street backing, and customers piling in, Palantir's trajectory looks unstoppable. So if you're watching from the sidelines, now might be the perfect time to jump in. Because this story, it's just getting started. But what is your opinion on this? Comment down below. If you are curious to find more, then make sure to click on one of the videos you see on the screen. And with that, we come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, then turn on the notifications bell on this channel. Missing an important Palantir update might make you lose money, so don't risk it. Also, please share this video with as many people as possible. Let's get this news out there.